live from the kitchen. It looks a little different back here today because I didn't feel like sitting on the paint can. You know what I'm saying? Like, my butt be hurting on that thing. So, happy Halloween. But I decided to make this Halloween Wentworth video. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about Wentworth's most Halloweeny scenes. And what I mean by that is, like, Wentworth's spookiest, goriest, most, like, spookiest, Halloweeny fucking moments, okay? Blood and guts and gore. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of the above. Wentworth's most Halloweeny fucking scenes. I don't know how to call it. I just don't. So we're gonna just jump right into it. The part. Fucking shit, man. Maybe if I bring it closer. I don't know. This is just becoming such a fucking ordeal. Alright, so on the list, number 5 is the death of Jacqueline Holtz, aka Jaxs. Alright, so we all know that Jaxs was the reason why B. Smith's daughter Debbie is killed, okay? She didn't do it, but she basically told her son to do it. So she was behind it, okay? Much like even though Mari didn't strangle Reb, it was her who was behind his death because she put the bug in Sheila's ear. Anyway, Jaxs Death. B. Smith goes into Jax's cell to confront her about what happened with Debbie. And Jaxs is basically trying her best to encourage B to kill her. You know what I'm saying? That's what was happening there. Jaxs was talking her shit. She knew her time was done. So Jaxs knew that her days were numbered. So she basically was talking shit to B so that B could kill her. And B did just that. She grabbed a pen, okay? This pen was in Jax's cell, and she takes the pen and she stabs it. She stabs her right in the jugular with the pen. And then what happens next? All of this blood comes squirting, okay, out of Jacqueline's veins. And it splatters onto B. Smith's shirt, onto the walls, everywhere. And she sits back down, dying. You know what I'm saying? With this blood. And she's like holding her. It was fucking terrible. The first time I saw that scene, I didn't know if this bitch was going to bleed through her mouth. So I was watching it like this. You know what I'm saying? So that was number 5. The brutal stabbing by pen in the neck death of Jacqueline Holtz. The next scene on the list, do you want to take a guess? The death of Sheila Bausch, okay? Oh, shit. Let me tell you something about Sheila's death. That was literally the most horrifying thing that I have ever witnessed on Wentworth. It was fucking crazy. All right, first of all, so let me tell you what happens, okay? So what happened was, Luke Kelly don't play that shit. She said revenge would be hers, and revenge was hers. So what she did was she presented Sheila with a choice. You either drink this strychnine that I made, or I slit your throat. You decide, bitch. And this crazy ass bitch says, I'll drink the strychnine. Como la loca. I mean, what would I have done? What would y'all have done? Would you have drank the poison and took your chances that you might live? Or would you have had Luke Kelly slit your throat? I don't know. I want to say, I'm sorry, but we would have had to fight. Luke Kelly and I, we're going to fight. I'm going to fight you. You're not going to just slit, listen, I'm not drinking the poison. And you're not going to just slit my throat. I'm not going to just stand there and be like, okay, and, present to you my throat so you could slit it. We're going to fight. I'm stuck. She would have had to fight me to the death is what would have happened. And then I would have looked at her with my last dying breath and told her, I love you so much, Luke Kelly. How could you have done this? Anyway, so boom, Sheila chooses to drink the damn strychnine, okay? So she drinks the poison and then she transforms into this dying, writhing beast, okay? Who's bashing her head, boom, against the damn basin of the sink. So Sheila starts bashing her head up against the sink, trying to knock herself the fuck out because the pain that she's experiencing after having drunk this poison is too much. She wants to die. So oh my God, she looked crazy. So she starts crawling with the little energy that she's got left. She starts crawling her way towards the feet of Luke Kelly. She's so beautiful. And as she's crawling, she just looks fucking demented and crazed, like a fucking, I don't know. She reminded me of the Crypt Keeper. Like the facial expressions that she was making and the way that her hair looked. It was fucking horrifying. And she's just dying. She's there. She's doing pelvic thrusts. She's making these sounds, you know what I'm saying? Her eyes look like a fucking, oh God, like she's being possessed, maybe. It was bad. And I was just like, damn, yo, what a fucking way to die. But that's not it, world. There was more. So Mari comes and walks into this fucking horror scene, and the look on her face and her reaction to seeing Sheila dying was the same one that I had. I was like, yo, this has to stop and fast. And so her and Lou proceed to take the handle of a broom and put it up against her throat, and they kill her. They kill her. She was so happy that she was gonna die. Like when they came with that damn broom, she's like, you know, trying to grab at it so that she could just kill herself, because she was done with life at that point. And that was horrifying and a scary way to die. The third scene that was just like, wow, straight out of a horror movie, was the scene. It's the scene where Joan is thrown in the freezer and comes crawling out that bitch like she's some type of fucking, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So what happens? Eve tricks Joan Ferguson, and when she's got her right where she wants her, she bloop bashes her over the head. So she hits this bitch over the head and then throws her into the freezer. So then what happens? She tries to close the tapa to the freezer, and then like a struggle ensues. So now you've got Eve Wilder using all the power that she possesses to try to close the lid of this damn freezer, and she does. And then what happens? She goes to try to lock this shit so that Joan could freeze in there and die and never come out, right? ¿Y qué pasa después? Joan makes it out. Right when she goes to close the latch, Joan, she opens, she like hits the damn thing. You see her hand come up. The lid goes flying. In the process, so does Eve Wilder. She flies back and hits some shit and stays on the ground there watching in horror at what happens next. What happens next is Joan Ferguson comes crawling out that freezer on some fucking crazy shit, just coming out that shit. Look, it was, listen, and I'm just like, wow. And so she comes crawling out of that shit, and she's like, she was walking towards her, but for me, I felt like she was on all fours crawling, even though she wasn't. But I feel like at some point she ended up on all fours, because we see them face to face on the ground. Joan is crawling towards the eyeball of Eve Wilder. She puts her hand into her eye, and she's like, it's hush hush time. You know what I'm saying? And I thought she proceeded to rip out Eve's eye with her bare hands, you know, and put it in her pocket. That's not what she did. She manipulated Eve into gouging out her own eye, which is just crazy to me, because I dare you to try to do that to me, because I'm not gouging my own eye out. You could kiss my ass. My eyes are staying put. So she gouges her eye out, and then later on we find out what she did with Eve's eye. She placed it inside the jello gelatin of Luke Kelly so that Luke Kelly could potentially eat the eye. Que locura. Okay, Luke Kelly, however, didn't eat the eyeball. Instead, she throws her spoon down, the eye goes flying, and she proceeds to curse and get mad. And that's what happened there. I will never get over Joan Ferguson crawling out of that freezer the way that she did and going towards Eve's face like it's hush hush time. That shit was crazy and creepy as fuck. That was one of the creepier things that I've seen ever on Wentworth. What do y'all think? Number 2 on the list is the scene where Lucy Gambaro, aka Juicy Lucy, okay, when she goes to the dentist to have her fucking teeth fixed, and it's not the dentist, it's Joan Ferguson, all right, there, scalpel in hand, ready to cut off Juice's tongue. Oh God. So she looks at Juice in the face and she tells her, you've licked your last pussy. And then she cuts her tongue off. We hear Juice's cries of horror as her tongue is being fucking removed from her mouth. Oh my God. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. So, what happens next? The next thing that happens after her tongue is cut out of her mouth by the fucking freak, okay? She ends up in the yard where all of the women and all of the fucking screws, governor, everyone's out there. You know what I'm saying? Everyone. Main characters, sideline characters, every single officer, they're all outside. So she makes her way out into the yard and she's looking crazy. She's bloody. She's got blood everywhere, on her mouth, like on her chin, on her shirt. She still has the dentist bib just dangling and flying in the wind, and there's blood on it. And she's walking and she's looking crazy as fuck. She's looking like she's out of it. She looks like a damn zombie, okay? Like she was just eaten. Oh, God. There's blood everywhere. She collapses onto Vera. There's a scene that I've never watched where I don't know if it's blood or puke or what, but it's coming out of her mouth and it lands onto Vera's clothes, okay? Oh, my God. Juicy Lucy collapses. She passes the fuck out right there in the yard. A bloody mess. Everyone's horrified. And it was just one of the most disgusting things that I've ever seen happen on Wentworth. And then later on, what happens? It's Vera's birthday this day. This day is Vera's birthday. And as a birthday gift, she receives the tongue in a box. Joan Ferguson is crazy, okay? The number one most horrifying, spooky, scary scene in Wentworth took place in season 5, the last episode. Okay, you want to take a guess what this is? Joan Ferguson being buried alive by Will Jackson. Oh, God. Let me tell you something. First of all, I don't like small spaces. I wouldn't say that I'm claustrophobic because claustrophobic people can't even go on an elevator without freaking out. You know what I'm saying? And I can go on an elevator and be just fine. However, I don't like small elevators. I'm not claustrophobic, but I don't like small spaces, all right? And so, Joan being buried alive, for me, was horrifying because, can you imagine? Can you? Just imagine right now that you put yourself in a box that you could smuggle yourself out of prison, and you think that when, you think at the end of it all, the box will be open and you will be freed. You know what I'm saying? But instead, you're like, what's going on? I hear things. You know what I'm saying? And you're hearing all these weird sounds, dirt, shovels, and all of a sudden, things start falling on your box. And when you realize what's happening, it's too late. You're being buried alive. I feel like Joan, had she not panicked, she could have gotten out of that box. She could have used those scissors. She could have pulled them staples. She could have been freed. Had she not spent so much time wondering, like, did she fall asleep in this box? Like, what happened? Because from the time that Will Jackson had to dig that hole, you could have been gotten them staples out and left. Killed him, thrown him in the box and buried him and been out. What happens? Will Jackson buries her alive, okay? That's what happened. He buries the bitch alive, and it was horrible, and she's screaming, and I would have been too. And since I don't like small spaces, and the thought, oh my God, listen, I would have never even been able to put myself in that box so that I could escape the prison. Like, I'm doing life in jail because I'm not going to be able to be in the box. It's too small. So that was the number one most horrifying, spooky, creepiest Wentworth moment, was Joan Ferguson being buried alive. And so some honorable mentions now. The first honorable mention, listen, this was also quite scary. This was one of the scariest things that I've ever seen on Wentworth as well. And that was the moment where Mari Winter, okay, kissed Luke Kelly in Luke Kelly's cell. Oh my God, when I tell you, I screamed. And what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I tried to block those memories. I don't even like looking at the pictures. Like when I was editing that shit, just looking at the pictures was pissing me off. The other one that I thought was just bloody and was the fight between Frankie and B. Smith. It wasn't the fight that was like, ooh. It was the moment where B. Smith starts slicing herself. And the reason why, she didn't just like slice herself. She stabbed into herself first. She stabbed and then ripped. And she was like stabbing and ripping. It was just like, I had to turn away. Another honorable mention I'm going to have to say is Eve and Jodie Spiteri's eyeballs. The aftermath of the eyeballs, okay? Because Eve Wilder literally lost her eye. Jodie Spiteri, however, still had her eyeball. It was just like all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? She tried to gouge it out, but she didn't gouge it out. You know what I'm saying? Did she gouge it out? I'm going to have to watch that over to find out for sure. And so that was it, world. That was it. That was the Wentworth Halloween Spooktacular. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Like my shit. If you like this video, then subscribe to my channel so that you could see more. And if you do subscribe, click the damn bell the notification bell. Like, make sure that you have all notifications on. That way, when I upload videos in the future, you'll be notified.